Hello, señores y señoras. Welcome to another episode of the saga of Goliath Flores' podcast right here, Elucidate. If you'd like to donate to the show, you can do so at atlanticradio.blogspot.com. Thank you very much. Anyway, also, your donations are certainly appreciated. Now that we took care of business, I'm going to tell you what, I just got in from a quick jog. It's like past midnight, barely, and I just played at the Casbah. And I jogged this morning, and I just took a quick jog with my dog. I had to stop often because he had to pee and poo-poo. Anyhow, what am I telling you? There is a humid outside, and I don't know if allergens are floating around in the sky, in the air. My head, I'm not that tall. I'm not tall at all, actually. But I'm not short either. Okay? Do I detect a little insecurity there, Goliath? Huh? So anyhow, let me tell you, if you've been listening to this podcast from the beginning of me starting this podcast, you'll notice that I've been through a lot of changes. You'll notice changes. You'll notice a change from the podcast, from the beginning of the podcast to now, and just a change. I think I haven't gone back and listened to my first episodes, but there's a change in my tone. There's a change, and from episode to episode, depending on how I'm feeling, that's going to sound different too. Like if I'm sick or if I'm just tired and I decide to do an episode or whatnot. You wax and wane. You have your ups and downs, but in general, through longer periods of time, like months at a time, you'll notice that some changes in the podcast. You know what? As a matter of fact, please don't go listen to the early episodes of this podcast, except for the episodes that are before the video episodes, because the first video episodes, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I had so much trouble concentrating on the conversation because I was too busy paying attention to the cameras and to the audio and making sure that I wasn't messing anything up. Anyhow, I played at the Casbah tonight and I was killing it in my sets. I got to tell you, it was a lot of the parts of the two sets, it was just really good. It's right on it. I know when I'm on it and I know when I'm not. And there, the people in there, they didn't care at all, right? So I'm playing this music and I'm playing this flamenco song, this rumba, and I'm like, and then dun 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 dun. Nobody claps, nobody cares, nobody even makes a move like they acknowledge it. Even if they were acknowledging it, they didn't make a move. However, what do you do in a situation like that? Me, I keep going and I look for the good in a situation like that. And I keep practicing my tunes, except apparently I'm practicing in front of people. So if you're a musician and you're thinking about doing gigs at places where musicians are not supposed to do gigs because you're selling your soul, and instead you want to go work some job somewhere, how is that not selling your soul? How is that not selling your soul more? If I'm going to have any problems, they're going to have to do with music, right? If I'm going to have any problems, they're going to have to do with any art that I'm involved in. And you know what? And if I have to take a day job, then I'll take a day job. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a day job. Sometimes from time to time, I think about getting a day job just to remind myself to go back there. It's been a long time. It's almost 20 years, right? But I was thinking about this. The people who work at gas stations, you go to the gas station and you pay, or you go to the Jiffy shop and you go up to the counter and you pay. Are you one of those people? What if I had to work at a gas station? What if you had to work at a gas station? I got to tell you right now, I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to be honest with you. I suspect, I'm not sure, I don't know, I haven't had that job, but I think that if I had that job, I think it would be a shit job. This job sucks. I can't believe. And you know what? It would, if I was a different kind of a person, it might permanently wear on my morale. So I wonder if the people who are working there, if they like it, maybe some of them do, maybe some of them don't, or if they think like me that I would be like, man, this is a crap job. I wish I was doing something else. Or maybe something happened to them and they're grateful to be there, because they're not in a prisoner of war camp anymore. So these things are relative. But nonetheless, there's so many people in these kinds of jobs. And to some people, this job would be hell. Actually, probably to a lot of people. And then to other people, it's a blessing. So what am I saying here? What I'm saying is, what I'm thinking about is, like I was coming home from a gig and I stopped at the gas station and I went into the Jiffy store and I was buying some beer. And behind the counter, this is like 1 in the morning, and I was on my way home and the man behind the counter was a senior citizen. And I was thinking to myself, how did he get here? Like, does he do this because he can't sleep? And he's like, I need a night job or something to do. Or is he being forced to work because his wife is ill and he has to work there? These are questions that I'm wondering, right? These are questions that I wonder when I'm interacting with people. A lot of my peers, maybe all of my peers, they would never work there. They would never work at a gas station. So am I being like judgmental? Am I talking down on this work? No. Okay. Before you freak out about that. Okay. I have nothing to gain from moralizing and putting myself up above anybody else. I have everything to gain about putting myself up above myself, my previous self, to beat myself, to be better, to be more kind, to be, these kinds of things. Anyhow, I'm leading down this gas station road because we all go to gas stations. And actually, I have no plan in regards to why I started talking about that and where I'm going with it. But I'm meditating on this with you. You're meditating on, thank you, actually. I appreciate you meditating on this with me about the gas stations. Because I a part of me doesn't want these people, doesn't want them to work at the gas station. I want them to do something else. But what if they want to work at the gas station? What if they like it? Right now, are you like, Goliath, shut the fuck up about the gas stations already? I don't know. Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. So here, more people watching and people observing. So I'm going through this thing, right? And I've been in a world of counselors, going to couples counseling with my wife. And this is a very feely, like touchy-feely environment, like situation. And okay, so there's that. And then my wife is a mental health counselor, and that's another very kind of like a soft-spoken, feely kind of situation. Her approach to things and our counselors' approaches to things. And then there's this side of me that is in me, and it's in my brother, and it's in some in my mother, and it's in my dad, and it's a cultural thing, right? Like we're on fire, right? Like it's like a fire, but we're not. In comparison to my wife's culture, who's from Georgia, United States, like we're like all over the place. There's a word in Spanish called coraje, and coraje means it's like a positive anger. You can use this word like this. Mi mamá me decía, my mom used to tell me, hazlo con coraje, mijo, con coraje. Like with a positive anger, with a fury, like somebody could say, but I don't know, that sounds, anyway. So this energy, I'm in this soft energy, and then I have this other side to me. The way I've been listening to the Jocko Willink podcast, right? And the way that he talks when he's doing like these excerpts, witches are like kind of like motivational, not motivational, but they're like meditations, but they're kind of masculine. They're like more on the masculine side. Like this is my voice in my head. This is how I talk to myself. This is how I grill myself. I've said to my wife, I've said to many people that I'm my worst critic. Many people say that, right? But I've said also that I'm my own drill sergeant. I have a drill sergeant in my head, right? And the language that's used, it's not offensive, and I'm not demeaning myself in my head. Everything is done out of love, but it's definitely not soft, So I'm listening to this podcast, and it's reminding me of this energy that I have inside of me, that has been dormant because I've been surrounded by little girls. I have 2 daughters, toddlers, and my wife, and then we're going to counseling and all of this kind of stuff. And you know what? I don't mean anything by it. You have to apologize for everything today, right? I had a friend who used to tell me, "Hey, yo, Goliath, man. Hey, you don't want to get together with a white woman, man. She gonna turn you into a faggot, man." I don't use that word. I'm just quoting my friend. We lost touch, but anyhow, not because he used words like that, but we just lost touch for other reasons. And I thought about that during one of our counseling sessions, and I told my counselor that sometimes would pop into my head. And I would think about that. I'm like, maybe this is like, what's going on here? So this is not a battle between effeminate energy and masculine energy. Okay? Here's the deal. I'm a male, and I don't know if I'm a man, but I think I'm a man. Like, that's a social construct, right? Like the man, like I'm a man. Like, what are you, a man? You smoke Marlboros and you do this and you beat people with your fists, like that kind of thing. There's a template for what a man is, but I'm definitely a male, and whatever goes along with being a male, like having testosterone and losing your hair and whatnot, this is what's happening to me. And I heard that people with who are losing their hair have more testosterone than other people, than other men. Anyhow, I said to our counselor, the way that I let him in, the way that I hear this voice in my head, like my internal dialogue, which tells me, that's right, motherfucker. And it tells me, when I say, I don't feel like doing this, right? The voice tells me, Goliath, feeling like it has got nothing to do with it. Go do it. These kinds of things. There's all these little bits of wisdom that I've collected from the most unlikely places, actually, sometimes. Like that last one, that was this guy named David Fialho in Dallas. He was like this, at the time, he was like this skinny, nerdy dude with glasses. And we were going to go, I was working at the Guitar Center, and we were going to go into the warehouse because we had to rearrange the warehouse, and I didn't feel like it. And he said, I told him I don't feel like it. And he said, feeling like it's got nothing to do with it. And that always stuck with me. You know what? You never know what you're going to say. It's going to stick with people. But so you need to say good things. All right. Am I meandering a lot here? I hope you're staying with me. Anyhow, so this type of energy, this like male, like masculine, I don't know what else to call it right now. I'm afraid to speak because there's like these kinds of words are so loaded nowadays, like holy crow. I'm paralyzed. Thank you, everybody on the internet who is like calling everybody out and moralizing all over the place. Thank you. You've paralyzed me. You've paralyzed everybody. Nobody wants to say anything now. Everybody's afraid. You've done your job. No, go away, because we're taking over. We're changing this. Okay. So one of the things that I said to the counselor, I said, discipline equals freedom. I heard Joe Rogan say that, but apparently Joe Rogan heard Jocko Willink say that. discipline equals freedom. And he shifted in his chair and he goes, whoa, that's kind of militant. And I was thinking in my head, I know. But he didn't ask me what I meant by that. I had to like force my explanation in there. Like there was an assumption made there. Nobody's perfect. So what it means is that when you're disciplined, when you have self-discipline, you are not a slave to anything, because you can start and or stop anything at any time that you want. You see what I'm saying? It's like a master key to like human behavior. And I'm going to stop talking about this particular topic in a moment, but you got to remind me to tell you about human behavior and how one of my methods of getting out of depression, out of bad feelings, which is, I'll tell you about it in the next episode. Hopefully, if I remember. Anyhow, so what's up with that, man? Is anybody else going through this? So I keep saying so, and I'm sorry. My wife, when we first got together, my voice, my internal dialogue type of voice, that more aggressive, harsh voice would come out, and I would speak to her, not loudly, not anything like that, not offensively, but just the mere fact, just the way that it was offensive to her. And then she told me not too long ago, she said, you're talking to me like a guy, kind of. And I guess so. But the funny thing is, I was like softening it as much as I possibly could, So I'm going through this thing right now where it's like, I don't want to say I'm finding my masculine energy, because fuck that sentence. Well, I'm going through this thing right now where it's about positivity in action, not through speech necessarily. And I have to take care of my daughters. I have to take care of my family. And we're mostly a one-income family. And I'm the large part of the income. For a long time, it was all just me, actually. So anyhow, this kind of segues into the thing I'm talking about. Segues. The thing that I'm talking about is kind of related to the way that I see people. Like, there's a lot of people, the thing that I was telling you about at the beginning, towards the beginning about the fire. I'm like, we're on fire. Like, my mom and my dad and my brother and me. And it's like, compared to my wife's family from Georgia, United States. Is that when I meet people out here, it's too often, like most of the time, everybody's so subdued and careful. Maybe it's like the whole war between the social justice warriors, and if that's not a slur, a slug, a slanderous term, then I'll use it. But as a social justice warrior, I don't ever use that word. Can you tell? And the like alt-right or whatever it is, whoever's against each other. If this is the product of that, I don't know. It's driving me crazy. Too many people that I encounter are just so subdued and mild-mannered. And you may be like a minority somewhere and be going like, well, do you live in a middle-class white neighborhood? And I'm like, yes. This is what it's like. This is what it's like over here. So what is it? What does it look like, what I'm talking about? First of all, there's a vocal fry thing where it's like people talk like this. Like, I don't even want to push any air through my vocal chords. So I'm just going to like click everything. I'm going to click my little chords together. So there's that, right? And then there's the kind of talking where the person it seems like they don't really want to talk, and they don't really want to move their lips. Maybe everybody's smoking too much weed, So that one sounds like this. It's like, so I went on vacation, and then I told him that we were supposed to see each other before he left. And then I was going to give him the CDs because I was getting rid of all my CDs because I was switching them to MP3 files. And then like that kind of thing, right? Where the person's like not enunciating. I have a problem. It's a flaw of mine, most likely, where I'm sitting there listening to the person talk, and I'm like, holy shit, you're not moving. You're like, I can't even pay attention to the story because you don't even sound into it. You don't even sound into it, and you're telling me the story. You lived it. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So I'm going through something positive. And that's all you need to know right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all. That's what's going on right now, man. I have to stay as healthy as I possibly can for myself and my kids and my wife and my family. Even if I'm the kind of person who puts everybody else first internally in my mind, whatever I'm doing for myself, I'm doing it for them. And, there's something that Alejandro Jodorowsky, something that he says is that it has to be, what a couple of people say this, it has to be good for you. It has to be good for everybody else. What's good for you and good for everybody else, that is the shit. That is what you want to focus on. Like, for example, if you keep yourself healthy, it's going to resound through everybody that you love and everybody around you. And you know what, man, while I'm at it, I'll tell you about the thing that I told you I was going to tell you in the next episode. But after this, I got to wrap it up. About how to this is a method. There's all different kinds of individual cases for depression and lack of morale. Okay, and something that I want to say about morale is that it's amazing how just something that boosts your morale, like a song or listening to somebody talk or something like that. It's amazing how something that boosts your morale all of a sudden gives you this swell of energy that you didn't think that you had in you. So you have to find, right? It's no pressure. You have to find something like that inside of you that will restart itself, like that'll boost your energy for you, within you, right? So that's maybe down the road from before what I'm going to talk about. But the depression thing and the low morale, how to get out of these things. So you could be depressed. When you're depressed, everything sounds like bullshit. When you're depressed, everything sounds meaningless and it doesn't apply to you because you don't understand, because you're in another place. Like you're seeing the world through like a prism and it's crooked, right? And you may even be thinking that you're seeing the world correctly. Like you're like, this is really, the world is crap. Nihilism. What's up? Nothing matters. Anyhow, when you're in that state, it's very difficult to get through to yourself or to anybody because you have this emptiness, you have this void and like this pit in your stomach, and it's physical and it's mental and it's energetic. But here is my idea of what, did I already talk about this? Anyway, I don't know. Here's my idea of what may be the most applicable for the most people, not for everybody, is that action precedes emotion. That sounds like a bumper sticker, right? What does that mean? I'm saying that your body, I just heard somebody put it as, if you can't control your mind, control your body. Okay, well, now what does that mean? What do these things mean? It means that, I'll start by giving you a method, one quick part of the method. When I feel good, I make lists. I take a little time and I make a couple of lists. I'll make a list of like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things. Or sometimes I'll make a paragraph about, like, I need to make a website, and this is the reason that I need to make a website, and this is what I want the website to do, and what I want, just written as a paragraph. So then I follow these lists, these to-do lists, and then when I'm down, I just have to do what is on that list. Now, what if you look at the list and you're like, you just still can't get yourself to do it? Here's the critical point, right? So here's how you have to look at that. Let's say you have on your list that you're going to do the dishes in the morning. You wake up, and last night you were totally pumped about this, like that you can totally pull this off because you drank some tequila and you were like, fuck yeah, I can totally do this in the morning. You wake up in the morning and you're not into it at all. You don't want to do the dishes. I get it. And there's a part of being of someone with low morale and maybe even certain types of depression that have to do with egotism, because you can't get yourself out of the way. It's a kind of an ego thing, right? Now, I'm not being critical, but I'm just pointing this out. This is the same for me. So you need to get rid of that ego. Right? You walk into a room, you have a pimple. You walk into a room at a party, you think everybody's looking at your pimple. Nobody gives a shit, right? Not until you say something. I didn't even notice it. I didn't even realize you had a pimple until you told me something. So you get it out of the way. You get the ego out of the way. I know you have this feeling, you have this feeling, this dominant feeling, you don't want to do it. You don't feel like doing it. You can come up with all kinds of reasons. It doesn't matter what your mind is telling you to do, because what you're going to do is what's on that list. And you're going to just focus on the first one or the second one, whichever one. You pick one. Let's say it's the dishes. All you need to do is you need to see with your eyes. No, this is action precedes emotion, right? You just need to see with your eyes that your hands and your body got up and you're walking to the sink, and then you see that there's soap and a half of a sponge, and you don't have the right tools for this. Too bad. It's okay. It's fine. And you need to see yourself. You see your hands moving over the dishes and putting the soap on there and cleaning them. And your mind is telling you, this is bullshit. I shouldn't have to be doing this. My ancestors were rich, and there's no reason somebody should be doing this for me. And I can't believe I don't need to do this. You could be thinking, oh, I don't know what you would be thinking. You could be thinking like, man, I should totally call this one lover that I have, and I don't know, whatever. So it doesn't matter what you're thinking. You just keep going through these motions, and you need to see with your eyes. You need to see your hands. You need to see yourself standing at the sink and doing dish after dish. And it may be like torturous, But think about what you're calling torturous. Like there's people in Syria whose homes have been bombed. There's people in other countries that don't have any food. There's people who live in cold places and they have to go get firewood. Now, all these like misery and suffering is relative, right? But you can use that relativity to help you get yourself out of yourself, get that negative ego side of you out. So it's not always that you have to feel like it. It's not always that you have to fix your feelings. Okay? Oftentimes, you need to just see yourself. What I'm saying, see yourself, you need to witness yourself actually going through these motions that you put on this list. Even if you feel terrible doing it, right? You can put up with it. You can deal with it. You'll make it through. And here's what potentially, there's a strong potential for, oh my God, how do you say this sentence? There's a very strong potential for this to happen, which is that it will compound and you will start to get undepressed. Now, here's a pitfall, because you have to be careful, because you start to get undepressed, so you let go, right? You let go, you're like, oh, okay, I can fall a little bit now. No, you can't do that. You have to get used to hanging on. You have to hang on forever, 24 hours a day. Does that sound discouraging? Hey man, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, you know what? Delete that last part. Just forget if I said that last part. What I'm saying is that you have to, I got carried away while you're awake anyway. You have to hang on. What I'm saying is that when you let go like that, that's where people backslide. And there's nothing wrong with backsliding. Even if you backslide, just get back on it, right? Go back to this method. And I would like to know how this works for you. So if you're going to like lift, if you're going to work out tomorrow morning and you say you can't because you said you're 35 and you're getting old, please. And you're like, oh, my leg hurts or whatever. And you don't have any real injuries, but you're sore, like you're stiff because you were playing video games all night. Something like that. So you get up and you witness yourself and you make yourself do this, right? The first time that you do this, I think you'll feel good, but that's not the goal. The goal isn't for you necessarily to feel good. That's a consequence of you making yourself do this, and you can make yourself do this. Even if you can't make yourself do this, don't worry about it, because all you need to do is see yourself doing the things that are on your list. You know what? I got to shut up now. It's late, and I've been going on about this for quite a while now. And if you have some feedback for me, that'd be great. Donations to atlanticradio.blogspot.com. And you know what? I know that I haven't been podcasting as much, but I've been pretty busy with other stuff. And if you follow me on Twitter, you might get an idea of what I've been into. My mariachi suit will be here any day now, and I'll be doing a mariachi. I can't wait to do that, man. All right, I love you. Peace. Take care of yourself. Take care of everybody. Take care of everything. Clean your house. Clean your room. Floss your teeth. Okay? If you have teeth. If you don't have teeth, people love you anyway.